Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today I am going to talk to you guys about my playthrough of The Quarry. Now, this was a interesting game to go through as it is not so much a playthrough horror game, but it's more of a choose your own destiny type of horror game. The playing aspect, it's not a run and gun, it's not a search and solve a mystery. It sort of is with evidence factors, but it's more about survival and understanding the horror of the night. It's a bunch of teenagers that are in the camp, in the Hackets Quarry summer camp. Now it gets right to it with the mystery and the horror aspect, where you control a female character named Laura and a male character named Max, and they are kind of on this teenager adventure, getting ready for a fun summer kind of idea, and it all kind of derails really quickly. What's really, really good about this game is not even the main characters, but it's the villains and those who are mysterious in the back and the inner workings that are going on between them. The Hackett family has its own big mystery going on, and they are the most enticing grip to the story, I think. It's what are they going to do next, and how are you going to react to it? That's what I thought was really interesting about this game, where there's a cop and his name is Travis. Sorry, I've got like a notebook and stuff here, but his name is Travis. And he seems flustered with his own set of problems, and then on top of that he's dealing with these kids in the campsite. It's very interesting how it all kind of plays out and rolls together. So you're looking at a good couple of kids. You got Laura, Max, Abigail, Dylan, Emma, Jacob, Caitlin, Nick, and Ryan. There are parts of the game where you are able to control each of the playable characters, and you get to make decisions based on events that happen. There's a point where you can choose to sabotage a car, but in which way would you like to do it? And the outcome is very different, whether somebody can get hurt or an event just kind of happens. And that's the whole thing. You're kind of running through the game trying to avoid death and avoid trying to make the decisions that kill the camp members. And sometimes the option isn't very direct, where you think you're going to do the right thing still leads that character to death. And because of that aspect, it kept me playing and on the edge of my seat. I actually really enjoyed it, where I do enjoy a lot of run and gun horrors, or the stealth kind of horrors where it's you can't really get seen, or you don't want to engage with the big monster ahead of you. It's really interesting how this one takes a very different turn to the aspect of how the game runs. And a lot of the decisions were good. I just wish some of them had a few more options, where it wasn't just left or right, like run or hide. I wish there was a little bit more choice to it. All the characters are pretty fleshed out come near the end, and a few of them you kind of are a little bit more perilous with. You get them to do a few more risky things, whether they're a bit of a meathead, or they think that they can accomplish anything, or that they're not going to die, and that they're not in the pit of danger. Now, the thing that is the danger in the night are these mysterious creatures that get brought on quite quickly into the story. You get to see one at a very early glimpse, but then you don't see it again for quite a while. This creature is tall, massive, disgusting, and strong. For the first half of the game, I was very interested in knowing what this creature is. If there's only one of it, if there's many of it, if there's gonna be a way to kill it. One of my biggest downfalls to this game is finding out what the creature is. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna tell you. It's a game about werewolves. And my biggest gripe about it is that these werewolves don't give me the feeling that they're werewolves, other than they came out on a full moon and that they like to rip people apart with their long claws and snouts and teeth. My problem is they don't really feel or look like werewolves, where the wolf aspect of long fur and a dense coat doesn't exist. These are just skin creatures and barely a snout, barely a nose, with these little almost vampire-like or elven ears. It's a little bit bizarre. How they kill and stalk is amazing. The power that's constructed into the creatures, amazing. What's even better about the werewolves is the way that they transform. It's not even this bone-crunching, limb-lurching creature. It's just this eruption of skin and blood, and instantly they become the creature. The transformation and the way that the werewolves are perceived is very well done. How they look is just missing the mark. I don't know if it was an art direction to keep you guessing, because at the first half of the game I had no clue what these creatures could even be based on how they looked, or even how they behaved. For the times that I had seen it, I would have never guessed it to be a werewolf. Now, going in with the creatures and the things that are hunting you in the game, there's also a set of hunters and the policemen within the game that kind of give this other dynamic of villains or things that are after you, the bump in the night. You don't want to get caught by these hunters. They're grown adults that seem to be out in the forest doing some kind of activity that they shouldn't be there either, but they have weapons. They're loaded with guns and rifles and pistols, and they seem to know the lay of the land a lot better than the camp counselors who've been there for months do. Now, I didn't kill, but a few of my characters did end up getting killed, and I did not solve the mystery of the game. But I made it to the end of chapter 10 with about just over half of the counselors. To beat the game, you're supposed to find this thing called the White Wolf, which seems to be like the top of the mountain, the very first kind of werewolf, and break the curse of Hackets Quarry. The gameplay itself, when you're one of the counselors, is relatively smooth. The graphics are phenomenal, the landscapes are well done, how the rivers flow and the trees blend together, and its setting as atmosphere of darkness is great. You'll never have a moment where you are personally the character running away, and you'll never have a moment where you're carrying the gun and you're gunning it against creatures. Everything is a static moment where you have a choice. Where there's a bush rustling, you can choose to fire. You can choose to wait. There's a lot of choosing the outcome, but the only point to walking around the environment as the characters is to immerse yourself a little bit more and find these evidence packs, kind of giving you a little bit more lore into the Hackets family and the Hag of Hackets Quarry, which is another rumored event that had happened within the game. It explains it a little bit more as you go deeper into it, but all in all, it really kept me on the edge for the later half of the game, where the moments that really could have gotten you in trouble really started getting more narrow, where the survival and danger aspect got very, very close. You weren't sure which one was going to lead to death and which one was going to lead to safety sometimes. I'd recommend it. It was on a good sale. I got the PS4 edition, but then upgraded it to the PS5 edition for, I think it was $5 on the PS5 PlayStation site, so it gave it the updated graphics and it ran very smoothly the whole way. Now, another thing coming back to gameplay. is some of the angles that you go on with the camera view are terrible. When you get stuck in a corner or you're trying to look around trying to find a piece of evidence, it doesn't look pretty. The characters themselves have a very slow walking speed, and some of the environments, like when you're outside in doing the hikes, your character is slow, and if you're looking for all these evidence packs, it's going to take you quite a while to just look around. Thankfully, I found out that if you hold the L1 trigger the entire time, they go from a walk to a very light jog. There's no run, there's no fighting aspects, there's no swinging at anything, there's no climbing. You're just walking the environment or lightly jogging through the environment. Hold down that L1 button through your whole playthrough. You'll thank me later. Again, a lot of it is a lot of fun. There is apparently tons of different endings to the game depending on the choices that you make, whether you're trying to kill everyone, let everybody survive, trying to just kill the cops, just trying to kill the hunters. There's a lot of different endings and ways to play the game. So what's really interesting is knowing that your first playthrough probably won't be like your second one. Or if you're playing and a friend is playing it as well at the same time, the events are going to be very different. You're going to find out how you killed each person, and maybe you can come together and work on trying to get like a better playthrough. Trying to survive more through Hackets Quarry's nights. All in all, it's a lot of fun. It's not your typical horror game, but the events, the cinematic parts are crystal clear. All the voice actors are the actual actors that they're playing as in the game. There's a lot of movie stars and TV actors that are in this movie that are in shows that you would have seen before. So it gives you a little bit more of a relevance. When you see it, you're like, I've seen that person. Where have I seen them before? I found out that one of them is from Stranger Things, and he just doesn't look like one of the characters that you'd expect him to look like. It was good looking them up and finding out that who they play as is very different than who they are in real life. And it just gets you a little bit more invested. Nonetheless, the quarry was a lot of fun. It got me hooked probably after about 2 hours. So give the beginning a little bit of leeway. The choices are very light in the first few chapters, but I think it took me about 8 to 10 hours to complete it, and from there it got a lot more exciting. The choices really begin to open up, and the environments get to open up to you as well. So give it a try. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the game, and follow along for more. Thank you very much.